Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to this week's Productive Agent Podcast. My name is Tony Ruiz, and I'm the founder and host of the Productive Agent Podcast and Facebook group. And today I'm joined by my good friend and co-host of the Productive Agent, Mr. Shane Tokheim. What's going on, man? Not
much. How are you?
Good. It feels a little weird because I've taken a couple of weeks off, been on vacation, got busy, So yeah, it feels good to be back in the saddle. Let's see if we're rusty. Well, yeah, I am too a little bit. I'm like, hey, let's not mess this up. But I think I got the intro pretty good. So it's like, all right, we're good.
We're halfway there.
We're off and running, So yeah, man, what's been going on with you? So last week, I was in Port Aransas with family. It was a lot of fun. We go there the week after Father's Day and had a blast. All the kids were running around. But I separated myself from work, took a little time off. I was feeling a little burnt out, but I'm feeling better now. And, taking a break is pretty important every now and then, and just kind of recouping and going back with more energy.
Yeah, It's like, what's that book? The One Thing. If you put vacation on your calendar, then be on vacation. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, for sure.
Then come back strong.
And then you're going on vacation, I think, next week?
Yeah.
Where are you going?
I'm going to Iowa to play golf with my brother-in-law, and my nephews, and it's pretty much golf from sun up to sundown. It's the craziest thing that it's like, one of the courses, my favorite course, is we get there at 7 a.m. and there's not a soul on the course. It's crazy, and it's a nice 18-hole. It's in great shape. And every year I'm like, where's everybody at? But every year it's the same thing. I guess everybody's working while we're on vacation.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Now you have this funny goal that you have as you prepare to go on that trip. Are you on track to hitting your goal?
We're not supposed to talk about that.
Oh, we're not?
No.
Oh, they don't know about it?
Are you talking about like my physical goals?
Yeah. Your physical goal.
Well, my nephews obviously are younger than me. And so most of them are in pretty good shape. And so I like to get in good shape when I go back. So I set a goal to bench press a certain amount and squat a certain amount. And I've hit both those goals.
All right.
I last year, I know I was trying to get everybody to do the Tokheim Olympics to see like who could run a mile the fastest or a 40 the fastest and bench press the most or bench press your weight the most. But there was no interest.
Well, you did. I also saw something recently, and it's with a different group of guys. Don't you have like some man Olympic?
Oh yeah, the something? Man. What is it? Huda Man.
Huda Man.
Well, Jeff Romo, he heads that up. Who's a good buddy of mine, and then there's a whole about 20 of us, I guess. And of course, the trophy's on my desk, so we probably need to do that again so I can win it again.
Yeah. How often do y'all do that?
We were doing it, I think, like I don't know. I was going to say annually, but probably not even.
Yeah.
But we need to get. It's just like pool. What do you call it? The beanbag thing, cornhole, ping pong, golf. And I think the most points are for golf. And, I would venture to say I'm the best golfer there. So,
all right. Yeah. Pretty cocky, but.
They're not golfers. I don't know.
Well, cool, man. So I think we wrapped up I know the last time we were on about a month ago, we wrapped up our 6-week or whatever accountability group. We talked a little bit about that. I think we took like a week or two off, and then some people showed interest in getting back together. So we met up yesterday, and it was pretty fiery.
Yeah,
it was cool. But it was in a good way. So tell us a little bit about how all that went down from your perspective.
Yeah, so it was over 2 weeks ago yesterday, and I think you were kind of the ramrod saying like let's continue on, and then Bertha of course wanted to, and then a lot of people wanted to.
Yeah.
And so we put it together, and then I just happened to have had lunch with a guy named Andrew, and he was telling me what he was doing, his goals and everything. I was like, dang, dude, that's right up my alley. And so I invited him just to come, and I said, why don't you share with the group? And he's very aggressively calling people. And so I knew that, and I know like some people in the group are like reluctant callers, sure. And so when he said like, I'm just calling everybody, I knew that would spark some discussion, and it did. And I really liked the interaction that went on after that.
Yeah. It was definitely a little bit more of an aggressive approach, because most of us come from this either we're afraid to contact, period, and we don't. Or if we do contact, it's more about building the relationship and not really mentioning business. And then he was like on the extreme
Yeah.
other end of just like, I just jumped straight into asking them who do they know to buy or sell.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, that's one way to do it. And like you said, it's a numbers game.
Yeah.
All right. The more people you do. And of course, it's like if he's trying to contact 50 people a day, he's got to be quick about it. You know, you can't carry on these long conversations. So I think there's, you know, you got to pick what works for you.
Yeah.
And I mean, you would be a little bit different than me.
Sure.
But as long as it's the same message and we're taking similar actions, then I think it's going to pay off.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think 50 calls, but I think he only probably, I don't know. But
he said he did. He ended up doing like 20, 25.
Sure, because you know, you have conversation, and that's better in your mind and mine.
Right.
But you know, if you make 1,000 calls versus 10, you're going to do more business. That's all there is to it. And so,
Right.
I said exaggerating, and everybody gets all worked up. Like if you just called and said, "Do you want to buy or sell a house?" and hung up after they say no, you hang up, move to the next one. But you do 1,000, you're probably still going to get more business than if you have a nice, caring conversation.
Yeah.
But you want to be in the middle, obviously. I mean,
Sure.
you know, so
Yeah.
I really liked it, and I still now I was asking, like, you were on one side, and and physically, and both.
Yeah.
Like, why is it? Why do we have call reluctance? I don't know. Fear of rejection. I mean, I do know.
Yeah.
We're not prepared for a call. You know, we're not organized with who to call. There's a lot of reasons, but
I think if you have a reason and a purpose to call, and if you go back, I have to look up the podcast number it is, but we did that whole like 10 to 12 reasons to call your sphere, right? And like you have a reason, and going back to the birthday campaign, I know we always talk about that, but it's like, hey, if I have 150 people in my database, I should know all of their birthdays.
yeah.
And guess what? If you start filling it in, you go, oh, damn, I don't. Like, I only have like 25 birthdays, right? So I should probably call them in and just say, hey, man, starting a birthday campaign. You know, what's your birthday? You know, from there, you'll get their birthday and you can get their address because I want to send you a little something. You know, I care about you. And it's just like, boom, it's that easy. So there's a reason to call. It's not just like, hey, what are you doing? Cool.
How can I help you?
Yeah, like there's a plan of like, hey, I'm going to call for this or I'm going to call for that, or something that came up. Like, for instance, my friend Cedric that was on a couple weeks ago, he posted about a property in Almost Park, and it made me think of a client that wants to be in Almost Park. So it's like, okay, I'm going to ask him about that information, then I'm going to call her, and say like, hey, this is coming up, So having reasons to call, I think, is definitely helps get over that reluctancy of calling.
And in the class yesterday, we talked about role playing, which is crazy to think, like scary, right? And of course, you volunteer me right away, and I'm like, I'll do it, but and I think that role playing is super valuable. I think if you have a partner like he does, and you practice every day, and one of you says like, hey, today let's do birthday campaign calls, or let's do whatever the call is. Hey, today let's call 10 people and say this. And then you say like, okay, how's that going to go? You map it out, you say it, then you practice it, then you ring, hello, and you actually do a role play. I think you'll get better and better and better, and you'll have more confidence. And so, of course, somebody's going to answer, say like, what are you talking? Yeah, I mean, you're going to be thrown off, and you're going to get, that's the fear. Like, oh my God, what if they say this? Or what if they say that? What am I going to say?
Yeah.
You're going to say something. It's going to be fine. Just do it.
Well, I also like, Ninja Selling talks a lot about this. Is it not necessarily having the things to say and like how to respond to that? It's being a better listener.
Yeah.
And then asking a question.
For sure.
So it's like, what the hell am I going to ask them?
Yeah.
You're going to ask them about whatever they just said.
Yeah.
However they responded or what they talked about.
How does that look to you? If you had a magic wand, how would you make that happen?
Yeah. So oh, she had a birthday. Oh, wow. Oh my God. Oh, she's pregnant or whatever, know, and then that leads to the next question or the next question. And you do get better at it as you do, just like you practice your golf swing and you get better at it. You take some lessons, you get better at it.
Yeah.
The more reps you put in, you get better at it, and you're going to mess up, and that's okay. You can just move on.
Yeah.
So
There's a reason why you're standing there with your golf coach and you're hitting him and you're so good while he's standing there saying like, okay, that was good. Now do this. And you get better and better. If you did that with calling, you'd get better and better and better. It's the same thing.
Yeah, for sure. So you kept on bringing this up. There's a couple things that you would like start off our accountability groups with like different questions. And one of the questions was, does energy matter? And it's funny because we kind of go back and forth and we have a different energy, and I think we match each other pretty well. And it's like, dude, this is my high energy. I don't know what you're talking about. But your high energy is like on a whole nother level. So talk to me about, what does that mean? Does energy matter? And what do you think about that?
Yeah. When I asked that, it was weird. Like the whole room was like, well, yeah, but it does, and everybody agreed that it does. And so I compared it to like when you're listening to audible books. And it for me, it really, really matters about the narrator, right, and how much energy they have or intensity. Because I like Jocko, and he's very intense. And that to me, and I know about him, I know his credentials, and I know what he's gone through, and I know his leadership, I know all that. So when he's speaking, I'm like, oh, I just admire him. So that matters to me. All that stuff matters. But so me and you are comparing, your boy,
So
Rohn.
I've been listening to Andy Frisell, and I still love his message, right? And, he gets me fired up, but sometimes he gets a little down and a little angry, and like not necessarily down, but just like frustrated. And it's like sometimes you could equate it to like a little negativity, right? And I was like, when I first started listening to some motivation things to start my morning, so I get home from the gym, I cool off, I read a chapter of the Bible, do my little downtime, and then I get in the shower. And while I'm in the shower, I like to listen to something that kind of lifts me up. Sometimes it's music, but most of the time it's a podcast or YouTube thing, motivation, kind of put some good thoughts in your head while I'm getting ready. So I used to just pull stuff up on YouTube before I got into the podcast stuff. And it was mostly like Jim Rohn. I would come across his stuff, and, type in motivation, there's all kinds of stuff on YouTube. And I just really liked his message, and I just really liked how he said it. And then I would send it to you, and it's like, yeah, that's great. And you're like, but I don't like his energy. His energy's low. And it's like, what are you talking about? Like, I love it. And then, of course, right now, as we're preparing, you played that little Zig Ziglar clip. And I mean, he is a different speaker, different level, both great, right? Going to a conference here at the JW in a couple of weeks, and they're going to have amazing speakers, but they all have different personalities, right? And it's like, some people connect with different personalities, but they're all great in their own way. But
So you wonder, like, do low energy people not connect with high energy people?
Probably. On some level. But
I don't get that.
Well, coming from a high energy person, But I'll tell you what, I mean, like if you go to like a restaurant, all right, and you have a server come up to you and they're low energy, like in any kind of way, it's like, bro, like step it up. You know?
It's like when I'm doing my classes, groups, when you notice I'm sitting now, and my energy is a lot lower when I'm sitting, and so that makes you think, like when you're making calls, should be standing or sitting. You probably should be standing, right, and pacing, and
I think it's more about the energy, and like the confidence level. So like whenever I taught band, I would never teach in front of the class sitting down. But there was band directors that would sit down on the podium and teach and do things, and I just couldn't. I had to stand up, I had to move around, I had to do things, and even now, like I put it on speaker when I'm in a room making call. You have to have some kind of life to your voice and your projection and all that. So
I like to stand and I like my energy, but I think also it puts too much focus on me when it should be a group. So that's why I'm sitting down in the group now. But I mean, it's hard for me to have the same energy when I'm sitting.
Well, who else talks about it? Somebody talks about it. Maybe it's Tony Robbins, about matching, right? I mean, I can think of like, I have like 3 closings going on this week, and they're all very different personalities. All right. And it's like, I'm not going to speak to this client the same way that I'm going to speak to this client, So I think it's important matching. And it's funny, I think it is Tony Robbins that talks about like even matching body language. And it's funny, I catch myself every now and then like matching your, like I was like, oh, I'm like sitting like him without even thinking about it.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, I think it's important to match the energy.
That's a good goal. And then he says, like, if somebody touches you like that, you know, you might, if you touch them back, they're gonna be like, oh yeah, I like that guy. You know, I mean, small things like that. I mean, it's all true.
For sure. So then that kind of goes back to like listening to things and reading things. And I know Jim Rohn's big on that. It's just like taking in more information and learning. What does he say? Leaders are readers and that type of thing. And learning from pretty much all the books that you told me to start reading.
Yeah.
You know, so
you wonder, like, what was the order of progression? Like, was Zig first? Jim Rohn probably learned from Zig. Like Tony learned from Jim Rohn.
Right.
All those and you know all the authors that you have there, they probably all have read each other's books and learned from each other. You see the slight edge there, and you said it just earlier. One of the main things of the slight edge is it's easier not to do things. I mean, it's so easy not to do anything.
Yeah.
But it's easy to do. Making 10 calls a day is easy to do. You just find reasons not to because it's easier not to.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, cool, man. It's a short one.
We wrapping up?
We might be. Is it this one?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not recording it there, but it's birds chirping in the background.
Crickets.
But yeah, so yeah, that's our episode, guys. Pretty short, pretty simple. We just wanted to get back in the saddle, give you a few things to think about. If you enjoyed the show, I'd encourage you to share it. All right, see, this is where I'm a little rusty. I haven't practiced this one. And, you know, share it, subscribe. You could check us out on YouTube, join our private Facebook group, The Productive Agent. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. All the links are going to be in the show notes. And we thank you for joining us today. Now let's get out there and go produce.